What is up, Nerdgenic Nation, and welcome to yet another live stream, episode number 5 of Moon Knight. I'm super excited to be here. I hope you are too. I am your host and resident superhero nerd, Aaron Waller, and in this series, or in this live stream, we do a live stream watch party of Moon Knight on Disney+. I should say Marvel Studios Moon Knight, because they always like to call it Marvel's something or Marvel Studios something now, because we clearly didn't know that this was Marvel, because there's so many Marvel things out there apparently. But I'm super excited to be here. Last week we ended on a what moment. It was actually our best graded episode last week. Go ahead and check out that live stream, which is right here on the Nerdgenic channel. You can watch the replay, see my live reaction as things unfolded, and then also get to see the grade that I gave that. I'm not going to say it here. Maybe later. We'll see if you stick around. But the way that it works is that we'll have a time code. I'll play the episode here. You'll play the episode there. I'll have the time code right up above me. I'll say 3, 2, 1, go. We press play. We all have a good time. We react together, and then we talk about it at the end and give it a grade out of 10. But if you are here with me live, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to let me know in the live chat if you are here with me live. Love to say hello. Love to give you a shout out. All that good stuff. This show has been a little bit, I want to say divisive, but I feel like it's just me and my friends. I don't know why. I feel like everybody's riding this high of Moon Knight. And in the last episode, the ending was good. Don't get me wrong. There have been good moments, but it seems like not a lot of people are excited about this show on a week-to-week basis like they were with, for example, Loki or WandaVision. That very much kept you engaged as to like what's going to happen next. This show is kind of on the fence. Like, I feel like it's good, but it's just not quite doing it for me. Maybe it's just the obscurity of Moon Knight himself, in which case, if you want to learn more about Moon Knight, Arthur Harrow, or Midnight Man, all characters that appear on this show, make sure to check out my history of series. I have a playlist right here on the Nerdgenic channel. You can find out the comic book history of all of them, where you can see them in video games, comic books, TV shows, all that good stuff. So make sure to check all that stuff out right here on the Nerdgenic channel. But enough chit chat about that. Let's talk about today's episode number 5, which is titled Asylum. So last week, big cliffhanger, like I said, big WTF with the hippopotamus, and sorry, there's a bug in here, with the hippopotamus god and Mark and Steven kind of finding each other in this asylum, which I think is in his head. I'm not entirely sure. There was also the other sarcophagus with what we assume to be Jake Lockley, the third personality and likely the most violent, apparently, willing to kill people at the drop of a hat. So it'll be interesting to find out what we learn in this episode. I've seen some grades. They're pretty high. I've seen some reactions. They're pretty emotional, I guess. Not emotional, but they're pretty high, I guess is the best way to put it. But then again, some of those reactions are also coming from people who think a little bit too highly and take things a little bit too seriously in a lot of these Marvel shows and things like that. So I always have to take it with a grain of salt. I'm not going to say their names. I'm not going to say, bash them. If they want to work with us, I would absolutely love to. I would love to get your opinion on things. But there are certainly those who are very over the top with how they're reacting to a lot of these, even though it's not really necessary. Maybe it's just me. Oh, Know Your Craft is here. What's up? Here doing a bunch of stuff. So about to press play and get busy. Okay, well, I appreciate you being here. Always good to have you here. I'm going to be annoyed by this bug the entire stream. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Even if you stop by for a minute, if you stay for the whole thing, regardless, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to enjoy with us. So I think that'll go ahead and wrap up my yippity yappity. I've been blabbing for 5 minutes. We had 5 minutes of buffer time to start. I say let's get into the episode. I've been dying all week to find out what's going to happen next. So without further ado, like I said before, I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, go. Whoops, I pushed the wrong button. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going to press play here on my device. You're going to press play on your device. There'll be an episode time code up above me. As long as you try and stay as close as possible to that time code, we should be A-okay and as synced as possible. So without further ado, oh, let me pop up. There it goes, episode time code. Without further ado, let's go ahead and press play in 3, 2, 1, and go. All Alright, I am pretty spot on. And we're just doing recap stuff. Gotta turn up my volume though. I think I said it last week that apparently it might not be Amit that they're trying to resurrect, but it's rather someone else. I think Anubis was the one that I said. I don't remember. This wackadoo ending from last week, those just bonanners. See, I think they're kind of like inceptioning him, because did you notice how all like the chandeliers moved? So maybe they're moving his body, or like he's floating, and that's where that sort of movement came from. That's just a theory of mine. I don't know if it's actually going to be true or not, but could be. Never know. That'd be kind of messed up if Marvel took from Inception, just because it's like 10 years old, or 10 years old? Like, I think it came out in like 2010, 2012 was Inception, so why are you taking from Inception? It's messed up. When did Inception come out? Now I'm curious. I'm probably ruining this stream. Inception came out in 2010. Oh, I nailed it! Sorry. Give myself props. What is happening? Is it gonna look different? How dare you? I just don't know where they're going with this series, to be honest with you. What boy is he talking about? What is happening in this show? You guys are confused too, right? I like how the VFX team also got the reflection in the little corner mirror. If you look up in the top left. I don't know why this is kind of giving me Shrek vibes. I like how they moved them as far apart as possible so they could just split the screen. Not have to have them overlap too much in VFX. Good, I like the attention to detail when it comes to VFX. So do I. I watch way too much of like the Corridor Crew channel, so anytime there's VFX stuff, I have to start taking notice, or at least a special notice. What is happening? Just gonna merge them. What? So is this gonna go back to the whole thing with spend eternity? Nice. Well, some people got balanced real quick. Because that... Uh-oh. because they're in conflict or something. We need a third heart. This is that flashback episode. Maybe not to the direction that I thought it was going to be, 100% a flashback episode. Let's go look at our lives. This is a Bill and Ted situation. You guys remember Bill and Ted when they were like in the I don't even, basically they were in hell, right? And they kept going through the different doors that had different like parts of their lives and stuff like that. This is exactly what that is. Oh. It's the one where he was beating the crap out of the jackal. The memory of when Khonshu changed everything. Changed the stars or whatever you want to call it. Lost Souls, A Boat on Sand, Nighttime Scenery. This is the Limbo from Disney Souls movie. I've never seen Souls. I actually wanted to, but I never got around to it. Nice. Is this gonna be like Marvel Zombies or something like that? So they added like a ticking element to the scales too. So all the people he's killed. Maybe. But the child's standing. I mean, eventually I guess they had to try and split them up. So, is Mark... Which one was Mark? I thought Mark was the one that was coloring, and then she says, Mark, what do you do? And then the other kid talked? I'm confused. I feel like they're gonna get way too meta with some of this stuff. Well, I feel like they've probably already gone way too meta with it. So his brother dies. Is that like the story of every like traumatized superhero? They did that already with Peacemaker earlier this year. Like, we're gonna have that again? I don't know what his plan is, running around trying to just try doors. If it's a life of memories, then it's a really dumb move. So he feels guilty for his brother's death. Just boiling it down. So like his mom looking disappointed at him. And apparently like maybe a funeral for the brother, I'm guessing. Of course that one opens. This is 100% Bill and Ted, dude. I like how Know Your Craft was kind enough to say souls. And like probably it is a lot more, makes a lot more sense, and I just straight up said Bill and Ted. Which was a lot creepier and a lot more wild. Okay, so that one's Mark. That's what I kind of had to assume after a while. Like, I understand the fact that like the mom would be upset, right? I mean, I've never lost a child, but at the same time, like, I feel like you kind of also have to be understanding like this was an accident. There was no ill intent. Yes, it happened, but I don't know. Maybe that's a bad mentality, but that's my own opinion about it. His mom is so traumatized by it, which I understand. Again, loss of a child has to be difficult, but putting all the blame on him and just basically shunning him, putting him in this massive sense of guilt, I don't know, it's kind of messed up. Definitely messed up. How many floors does this place have? Oh boy. So can he just never get to the room, or like it just opens up another room of bad memories? Uh-oh, are they on the sands? They're gonna get frozen? Oh, this was earlier. Thought they were back on the boat. This was all Moon Knight's origin, by the way. A lot younger than I would have thought he would have been. Pictured him more like a John Hammond type. Got shot. See, I knew these flashbacks were going to happen. It was just a matter of time and just context and how they were going to do it. And here it is. I was right. And now he's going to go to the statue and give his soul, or whatever you want to call it. To be Batman. Now I'm curious what he did in his room. He like split his personality somehow, just out of trauma? Yeah, mate, you asked that. course not. There's still like 10, 20 minutes in this episode. That was pretty lame. I mean, the suit up was kind of decent. I like how they try and make it like this. It's the one decision we can do because I am a hero. Like, a warning to hang on to something would be nice. I don't know why this feels very reminiscent of like a lot older style story. Calm down, man. That was a little over dramatic. And we're back. I still am completely lost. Thanks, Dad. Not sure if that's a low blow or not, to be 100% honest with you. So this is where he started basically just disassociating. What is the purpose of this? But he doesn't... That is really messed up. Wow, Marvel. Really messed up. Yeah, Steven is a coping mechanism. Insane. Must have made him take over when his pain occurs. Yep, exactly. Uh-oh. That was going to be the other way around and Mark be the real one. Well, Mark is the real one, isn't he? Yeah, kind of. We relived some trauma. But he's never talked to her on the phone. This isn't gonna end well. So is he enabling him? What is happening? Oh wait, who's who? I got the names mixed up. British is Steven and US is Mark. Yeah, that's right. British Steven, Mark, American. Is it just a tone, or is that just the background music? But he didn't go to the funeral, so why is he seeing... Oh, that was him standing outside. Okay, got it. So was he Moon Knight at this point? Boy, what you sorry for? So because he's feeling the trauma, he's gonna... But it almost seems like he forces the disassociation, which I don't think is supposed to be how it works. I know that's a terrible moment to laugh at, probably. Yeah, man, that's what I've been saying this whole time. We gotta have those millennial and Gen Z thoughts of not being your fault, of coping with the trauma. Nice transition. Uh-oh. Way to go, guys. I do like a lot of this theory and like this moment rather than like the Loki one. That looked kind of weird. But I like this whole aspect of like the underworld and like them coming after them as opposed to Loki. Maybe it's just a personal preference, but I feel like it's a good approach, a more interesting approach. And maybe that's just me. So they're not just people like zombies coming after him to bring him off of it. It's got to be people that he killed? Okay. That's even more traumatic. That was kind of cool. VFX wise. Oh, he's pulling the handbrake. Or he's steering. So to get their scales to balance, they have to work together, which is now what they're doing? Is that the point? Apparently Steven's now badass. There's probably going to be a zombie that's going to grab Mark from behind or something. I wrote this! Steven sacrificed himself. But if they're the same person, then they didn't sacrifice themselves. So is this meaning his other personality's dying? What is going on? Just got Medusa'd. I can't. They kind of just endgamed us there. Natasha died, Steven died. All of a sudden they wake up and they're in like this basically beautifully orange place. Thanos getting the Soul Stone. I'm just saying there's a correlation here. Marvel, you're showing your cards. I have no idea what they're gonna do with this show, honestly. I'm at a loss. And of course that's how they're gonna end the episode. Next week is the finale. How is that possible? And there's still not gonna be anything on the... I'm gonna let it play for a minute. Let's collect our thoughts. We're gonna collect our thoughts while it's playing out here. Like I said, I highly doubt there's gonna be anything, but let's see. I don't know why this... I don't know if it's the song on this outro, but it seems very James Bondy. Very James Bondy. See, it's always interesting to watch some of these end credit scene, because then you'll start to notice things from whatever current episode you're on. But obviously it's in a lot different context, because I don't remember seeing those stairs before, but obviously now that we saw the stairs again, it's very reminiscent of his childhood home. Very interesting to see those little things come full circle. So at least that's what I think. Moon Knight. And of course there was nothing. So let's go ahead and turn this guy off here. We'll get rid of that. So if you are here with me live, make sure to let me know. I'm trying to get this thing to close. There we go. So if you are here with me live, make sure to let me know what your thoughts were on the episode. Give me a grade out of 10. Let's break it down before I give you my grade. So I definitely think this was one of the better episodes. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely feel like this gave us a lot more context as to what was happening with Mark and Steven, even though it didn't necessarily give us the outright answer as to, you know, what's going to be happening next. I still don't really understand. I'm going to guess the next episode, I'm getting ahead of myself and predicting, but I'm going to guess the next episode is going to be something related to Mark going back to basically Earth. He's going to have the bullet in him. He's going to be able to somehow contact... There's still a bug, sorry. He's going to be able to somehow contact and release, I guess is the best word, Khonshu to some degree. How he's going to do that with a bullet in him, I guess he just has to find the statue and then smash it, I guess was the best way to answer it. I returned for the ending, was watching for some symbolism or post-credits, still waiting for something to hit. Yeah, I watched most of the credits. It exited out to like the Disney Plus. You should watch Eternals because nobody wants to watch Eternals. So I kind of just gave up and considered it a wash. But for the most part, the episode was honestly really good. I liked how they kind of used that trickery with moving things to different locations, even if it was as simple as, you know, opening a door and now you're seeing a memory. Again, it gave us a lot of context to who Steven is and why Steven exists. and why Mark obviously more or less is the way that he is. I know he was a mercenary, but in terms of why he created Steven and that whole thing progressed, which is kind of what I thought in the beginning, is that Mark had created Steven, even though we started with Steven, which was very interesting aspect to do it with. So we were led to believe that Steven was the original, whereas in fact Mark was the original. Where if you knew some of the comic context of it, which you should check out my history of, again, shameless plug here on the Nerdgenic channel, you would know that. You would know that Mark was the original in terms of like identities, because he would later develop them. It was more of like to lay low or to do various other aspects, but those things would become their own identity. So the way that they're doing in this context and be able to create when he's young. Now, what's going to be interesting is to explain is where the third personality comes in. Maybe that's more of Mark's violent tendencies, whereas Steven is more the gentle tendencies, to be able to, in a way, he kind of Horcruxed himself, right? I know that's not exactly the best way for DID, and I know that's not necessarily how it works, but he kind of Horcruxed himself, right? So part of his being is Steven, who's very gentle. Part of his being is probably going to be Jake Lockley, whether we're actually going to see that in the series or not. They alluded to it, that there is a more violent third personality, that there is somebody else. Why we didn't see it here, other than like maybe that sarcophagus last week, I don't really know. But I feel like he kind of split himself. So Mark is the very central, more quote-unquote balanced, right? What kind of what the symbolism was that they were using with the scales. So Mark is balanced. Mark is in the middle. He's basically like neutral, right? He's got good tendencies, he's got bad tendencies. But now that he's created these other personalities, Steven gets to be the good tendencies, good memories, happy-go-lucky. He thinks everything's fine. But then there's the other personality, Jake, who's going to be the more violent, the one who remembers all of these pieces and just acts so impulsively on them and just is basically a raw nerve and wanting to be just that angry person. And all of those things that are incarnate in essentially the polar opposite of Steven, that together they make Mark. Did I just describe the birds and the bees? I didn't mean to, but that's not what I meant. But I feel like that's just the best way that they're going to try and explain a lot of this stuff. I could be wrong. They could try and do some other who know what, but that's my prediction for what's going to be happening. Maybe Jake's personality, that third personality, can take over temporarily to be able to drive him with that essential anger that he wants to get revenge and be able to break Khonshu out. They then go forward. He becomes Mark. They Moon Knight it up, and we go out on a high note of whatever. I hope that they explain some of this stuff, because I have no idea still what's going on with the doctor's office. I feel like that's the biggest, most confusing part to me, is why we keep going back there and what is associated with it in terms of real world versus not real world. It's a big mess, and I have no idea what's going on there, but it is interesting to find out how all those things are lining up. But next week's the finale, and it'll be really interesting. I thought Jake would appear in this one, says Nerdycraft, and I 100% agree with that. I fully thought that Jake would show up, and I feel like Jake would have been the one that would have made the scales balance. I feel like in my mind, thought that that's what was going to make it happen, that they would acknowledge that there's a third personality. They were out of like scale and not complete because there was the quote-unquote third piece, the last third of them missing. So if they brought them all together and sort of uncovered that third piece, that would make the scales balance. Obviously, that it kind of happened in the opposite, where we got rid of Steven and then all of a sudden the scales balanced, and made, I guess, quote unquote one whole person is the best way to put it into an analogy. But I felt like it would have made more sense to go the other way and give it, the three personalities together, teaming up, acknowledging each other, recognizing each individual's sort of pain, coming together to balance out that scale. I feel like that would have made so much more sense, and then the three personalities kind of work together to become whole again and go back into the real world where Mark is shot, become that full able-bodied person to be able to release Khonshu, heal, and then exact the revenge that they're looking for. But next week is the finale, and I feel like we need another episode. I feel like if this went to 7 or 8 episodes, that would make so much more sense. But now we're stopping at 6. It feels like it might go unfinished. I feel like they have a long way to go, and I don't know if they can wrap it up in an hour. Obviously, they're going to have to, but I just don't feel like that's what's going to happen. But let me know your grade. I am going to reveal mine, and you guys might be a little bit surprised, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10 on this episode. Is it necessarily that high? For a lot of people, probably not. But I like the way that they kind of explained everything. I like that Bill and Ted, different doors, different memories. It was very revealing and uncovering, which I think is probably what I like the most about it. Even though it was kind of wacky at a couple of times, it did try and introduce that humor piece every so often. I felt like because they were trying to... I feel like this pushed the bar the furthest in terms of progress of the story for Moon Knight, and I would say it was easily the best episode. It obviously catered to me because it had those things that I already like and kind of just naturally built in. They kind of inceptioned it, kind of Bill and Ted, and like Know Your Craft was saying earlier, souls it, or soul it. But I feel like that's really where it was headed, and I really like that aspect. Add on top of that the fact that they kind of dug a little bit deeper into this whole Egyptian mythology with like the underworld and all that stuff. I thought that was really cool. Even though it was kind of weird and how they were developing it, I think, at least in my mind, I still feel like it was the best episode. Just acknowledging that trauma, even though it was kind of tough and difficult to watch, even though it wasn't necessarily something we were getting to actually see, but seeing how he had to basically split himself, how he had to disassociate or basically get himself through these tough situations. It's tough. Kids actually go through that. And the fact that I'm not trying to speak for anybody that obviously I don't really know situations, but I feel like that to me as a person that doesn't have DID, that hasn't been through this sort of trauma, it makes sense as to how things got to how they got. I guess that's the best way to put it. I could be completely wrong. Again, I know nothing about all of this stuff, but the way that it was presented, I thought was kind of classy in a way, but I also feel like it was just very good storytelling. Hands down, my favorite episode so far. Traumatic, yes, but it was still a lot of fun in terms of the adventure of what was happening. It progressed the show so much further than any other episode. And I gotta give my hat off to it. I still don't know where we're going. I don't know what's going to be happening in the next episode, but other than kind of like what I predicted, he's gonna get back, break out Khonshu. We're gonna stop Harrow, but what's gonna happen with the doctor's office? We're gonna need some serious answers. I hope we figure that out. But those are my predictions. That's my grade. Again, if you were here with me live, make sure you let me know your grade, or if you're watching this on replay, let me know down in the comment section down below what you thought of this episode, what grade you would give it out of 10. But also while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you miss out on any future videos from me or the rest of the Nerdgenic team. Russell's supposed to have a video coming out on Friday. I've got History of coming out on Saturday, which character is it again? I've got a couple that I'm really excited about, so I don't want to spill the beans, show my hand too early as to what characters are coming. But just in case, if you ever want to see a character on History of, make sure to let me know in the comments of the History of, so I make sure to make a note of it, get you guys the comic book history of any character you would want to know more about. I would love to do that for you and cater it towards you. What do you want to know about? I got you. But I think that's pretty much going to wrap me up on this episode. A good episode. I'm glad we ended. I'm glad we had this good episode. Like, it feels right. I don't know if that makes sense. Nerdcraft is going to go with an 8.5, even still being lost. That's perfectly fine. I mean, I appreciate you being here and giving it that grade. I think an 8.5 is definitely anywhere between 8 and 9. I feel like is a solid grade for this. I put it more 9 because I feel like it was a little bit more, lack of a better phrase, catered to me in terms of like what I like, or different certain elements that I like that just built on that. And so I went with the 9 there. But Again, let me know your grade if you're watching this on replay. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, History of is coming out on Saturday. Russ has a video on Friday, and we're going to keep this train rolling. We're so close to our goal of monetization, so make sure you guys share all of our videos, watch them, all that good stuff. We're so close. We're right at the edge, and we need your help to be able to share the message, spread the message, watch the videos, and help us attain that goal. Plus, we're almost, I think, at 34. We're almost at 3,000. We're almost at 4,000, excuse me. We're almost at 4,000 subscribers. So if we can get to 4,000 subscribers with your guys' help, that would be so awesome, and we would appreciate that so much. But that's it for me for now. I'm going to say this now, which is going to be going on the thing here. But I'm going to put up here on the screen, there's going to be my playlist of my history of, as well as another video, which is super awesome. You should definitely check out, talking about the DC showcase of Constantine House of Mystery. I had a great time making that video, and it kind of blew up out of nowhere. So I would appreciate if you guys give that video a watch like that as well. Next week's going to be a little bit different. I'll be a little bit different location, but I won't be home, but we're still going to be doing the live stream, same Moon Knight time, same Moon Knight channel right here at Nerdgenic. But in that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We hope to see you in the next video. Peace.